Hey folks, so see if I can get you some light, if that helps. Wow, there's a lot of dust floating around in here. Anyway, so now I've got my pinstripe on here. I had to fog it down at the bottom because I had some imperfections I had to get out. But so now everything is prepped and ready to go. I put some bright blood red pinstripes on there to kind of flow into the Joker. And then there's like a ghost stripe to a point there, and ghost stripe to a point on this side. Kind of get an idea what that looks like. This is what I like to use. It's called Repair All. It works like an acetone, but it doesn't take off the paint, and it won't mess up the resin or make it like liquid again. So it's perfect to give you a simulated version if you clear coat it, so that way you can find out if your scratches are too deep. As you can see, I've used different grit of sandpaper to sand this down, so essentially it looks like it's scratched. But when you use this spray, it literally simulates clear. So if nothing shows up with this, based on my experience, you'll know that it will not show up when you clear coat it. So those are the ghost stripes. That's what it'll look like. Over here, when I was talking about the resin filling in the gaps, I guess you still see lines, but that's just the reflection. But it will brighten up. As I told you, the paint that I did is just a fog. It's really, really subtle, and this is more the angle that you would see if you were standing in front of the hood. And so let's see, I'll turn off the flash. If I turn off the flash, that's pretty much what you're looking at. So everything is really, really iridescent, lifelike, 3D-like, and I haven't even put the other resin on it. So that is the idea. See, it kind of looks 3D a little bit, but it gives it a little bit of life. No life, life. See that? So again, this chemical here is it's called Prep All. And it's like maybe $7 a can or something like that. But I use it a lot in my carbon work, so that way I can see what's going on. It's really, really useful to be able to see those imperfections before you put clear on. Or let's say if your temperature went wrong and you had bubbles in it, and as you're sanding and you got like the little pit holes. Let's see, something, you see how that's like a that spot right there is a low spot, right? Let's see if I can put some light on it. Yeah, see, that would be a low spot because it's still clear. The sandpaper just went right over it. So what happens is, if you have like little tiny itty bitty ones, like, no, that came off, but it's tiny itty bitty ones. Let's say, man, you can't even see. Let's say that was the spot, right? So what happens is, when you put your clear on there, it'll start looking like space, and it'll look really, really jacked up. You don't want that. So that's something to be cognizant about when you're working with carbon, because if you don't have your temperature right, and in your thickness and your mix and everything, if it gels too quick and those air bubbles are not allowed to escape, then they get trapped in the resin. You won't see it until you start sanding it. And when you're sanding it, especially with a fine grit sandpaper, 180, 200 or something like that, that fine dust will get in that little hole, and it is a bitch to get out. Trust me when I tell you. So what I highly recommend is, if in fact that happens, literally get a razor blade and carve out like a little hole, just jack it up and make an indentation in it to get that dust out, because when you go back over with resin, it'll fill in the gap like it was never there. So don't trip. So anyway, that is the update. So at this point, tomorrow I'll get some resin on here and let it settle, and then block this thing out, and I'll be done on the top side and figure out what I'm going to do at the bottom. I don't know if I'm just going to laminate it with carbon, or if I'm going to paint it black and be done with it. So anyway, because the focal point is here, my engine bay, there's no carbon or anything like that on it, and I'm not opening my hood, so that way somebody can look at the motor. I mean, this is the prize right here. So I very well may not do anything in particular underneath. And that's it for this video.